Welcome back, fellow soldiers, to a closer look part 2. This is the second video where we are going over the patch notes that came together with update number 7, and we'll also have a closer look at what exactly changed with update number 7. Now, if you haven't watched a closer look part 1, I would advise you to do so. I've included there the most changes regarding the new map Quarantine, also some gameplay changes and some changes that came to other maps together with update number 7, so some map rework that has been done. So I would advise you to watch this video first, a close look part 1, and then come back to this video where we are now especially focusing on the metagame changes that came with the new update. So let's dive right into it and see what is important for you as a player to know and what changed with update number 7. First up, I have to note that these metagame changes, as the developers write, also focus a lot on the feedback that the developers are getting from us, the community. And for that, I'm gonna read to you what the developers are writing here in the patch notes. We've listened to all the feedback regarding garrison bombing and the dissatisfaction with the metagame. Our design policy is to gently move the meta back into line with the outcomes we desire. Garrisons cannot be placed on neutral or enemy-controlled sectors. We are delineating the usage of garrisons to be positions behind the front that are designed to feed attacks and defensive locations, as opposed to functioning as a bomb or the tip of the spear in the assault. To this end, OPs will now function as they are intended, as faster forward spawns used by assault units. Our desire here is to encourage more intentional offensive and defensive behavior around a defined front line, as opposed to just dropping a garrison and flooding the point. We feel this will make defending far easier, as it is less likely that a defensive unit will be attacked from any direction. And that's how the developers open the metagame changes section of the patch notes, with quite a big change to the gameplay now. As you have heard, garrisons will not be able to be placed on neutral or enemy controlled sectors, and I think most of you guys have already realized and noticed that when playing the game. Me personally, I think it's a good idea, but this change has led to some discussions, especially on the Reddit forums, where people weren't that satisfied that it is not possible anymore to place garrisons in the enemy territory, since the placing of a attack garrison in enemy territory right after taking a point has been kind of a big point in the game until now. So if you were able as a team to take a point, lock it for 2 minutes, and then immediately spawn a garrison in the next sector, that meant that you will have a big advantage in surprising the enemy, and that will no longer be possible since garrison won't be able to be placed in neutral or enemy controlled sector. Instead, the devs write that people should now use the OPs more as an offensive spawn point and try to get behind enemy lines with the OPs and use the garrisons to build up a structured front line. In my opinion, a very good change. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of that change. And also tying into changes that come for garrison gameplay, the devs also have changed that the enemy garrisons will now take 5 seconds to be dismantled. And this replaces the proximity takedown that we've had until now. If you were running at a enemy garrison, the garrison would have just disappeared if you got close enough, and that will totally change, as the opportunity cost of removing a garrison was too easy and low previously. Now, after hearing this, you probably think, well, nice, now I'm going to run at a garrison and stand there for 5 seconds. trying to dismantle it, but I'll immediately be killed. Or on another side, I'll be able to just spawn camp a garrison, just stay close to it, hidden, and then just kill the whole enemy team every time they spawn. And to tackle that problems, the devs also changed that players cannot spawn on a garrison if an enemy player is within 15 meters. And I'm pretty sure you've already noticed that when playing. You see on the maps when enemies are close by, you'll see a red exclamation point at your friendly garrison that shows up when enemies are close by, and because of that you'll not be able to spawn again if the enemies are close enough, meaning in a radius of 15 meters. And what also ties directly into the whole spawn mechanics is that OP spawning has also changed a little bit. The devs write that outpost cooldown has now been reduced to 120 seconds in order to maintain them and also in order to advance into enemy territory. So you realize, and I'm sure you've already noticed in the game while playing, that the devs are now setting the focus more on the attack spawn opportunity for an OP, and as I said previously, that the garrisons are more thought of as a main part of a good defense and front line. Now, coming to a topic for a little short time that is concerning the capturing of points. And the devs are here focusing especially on the sector capturing in the offensive mode, and what they are changing about it and what they think about it, I'm gonna read to you now. The sector capture time is now reduced to 2 minutes in order to create more decisive conflicts on the point. We've slightly lowered the total time to capture the point. We found that in offensive mode particularly, the contested nature of flags as well as the total time needed to capture them meant that games could run well over 2 hours, resulting in tedious gameplay and lack any decisive victory or defeat. And I have to be honest, I haven't realized that change yet, haven't noticed it yet when playing offensive mode, but it seems to be a good idea, especially to make the gameplay more interesting, so there aren't situations where it is just a forth and back and just concentrating all on the same point the whole match. So I give that point to the devs. I haven't seen any negative downsides of that yet. They write that they'll be monitoring the changes and see how it will affect the gameplay. Let me know in the comments down below if you have already noticed any changes that came with that bigger change of the sector capturing. I think we'll see where this is going, but for now it sounds like a good change to me. Coming more and more to the end of the metagame changes and also this video, I have 3 more changes that I need to talk to you guys about, and these are especially that team killing has changed a little bit. It has been a problem until now that the kick function and the kick voting hasn't worked very well. There barely was a time when people were kicked because of team killing or other stuff they shouldn't have done. And now team killing penalties will stack. So additional team kills will extend the next redeploy time by 10 seconds for each team kill, and that's how the devs are trying to make the punishment bigger with team killing. If that is the correct way, I'm not sure, but I think to make it stack, that is for sure the right direction. We'll see if those changes are enough and if the changes are approved from the community, if they think that team killers will be punished accordingly with this function. Next up, and second last of the changes we're going to talk about, is the redeploy function, and that also changed slightly as the team kill function. If you are now redeploying from the in-game menu, Then it has a 20 seconds redeploy time, and all self-inflicted damage that leads to death now gives a redeploy time of 20 seconds. That way the devs want to tackle the problem that support players are just redeploying to get more supplies. Yeah, not much to say there. It's still the same problem. I think that issue will be approached in further updates so that the supporter doesn't have to redeploy, but for now it just makes the job of the supporter a bit more annoying when he has to wait at least 20 seconds every time to get to the main menu and then also redeploy. But yeah, we'll see how that works. Now, coming to the last change that I want to talk about, and that is quite a controversial one. It is the new Airhead Commander ability, and I think I'm gonna read to you what the devs are defining it. I think that's the best way to have a talk about it. An airhead is a bridgehead established by aerial drops, often into enemy territory. In Hell Let Loose, an airhead can be established by the commander at any location of their choice. After using the ability, your team-specific supply plane will drop a temporary airhead spawn point at the target location. It will cost 75 manpower and has a cooldown of 10 minutes. All infantry and recon players can spawn on it. Players can spawn on it every 30 seconds for 2 minutes approximately, and it is possible to drop that airhead into enemy territory. So make of this what you want. That is, in my opinion, the way of the devs to give the commander a ability to set an offensive spawn point. Before we had the garrisons that were able to be placed in enemy territory or in neutral territory. Now it's not possible anymore, so we only have the OPs that will work as an offensive spawn point. And now with this Airhead Commander ability, it will be possible to the commander that he can set an offensive or defensive spawn point if he wants to, at least for the duration of 2 minutes. If that is a cool thing or not, I'm gonna leave that open, since I haven't seen that in-game yet, or I haven't seen it being used yet. I think we'll have to see how this changes the gameplay. A big difference to a normal garrison, to the Airhead Garrison, if you want to call it that way, is that it will be destroyed by enemy proximity, so it is easier to be destroyed by enemy players. And with that, I think we can close the patch notes and also a closer look part 2 this video. I hope you enjoyed the content I provided. If you want to read it up yourselves, of course you can do that. I always link the developers briefings down in the descriptions of the video. If you liked the video, give it a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And as always, I'm pretty sure we're gonna see each other on the battlefield.